We've come to the end of our journey with Broadchurch again, and I say this every time, but I don't like saying goodbye to the show. And to be honest with you, I feel like Broadchurch, or Gracepoint for me, has been like an extension to Broadchurch rather than a separate show. And I might do a comparison video, I might come back to it in a few months. You know, Broadchurch for me, it's one of the best shows I've ever seen, so I don't think I'll be leaving it too long before I see you guys again. But if I don't, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has tuned in so far for the Gracepoint reactions. Anyone that has tuned in despite already seeing the Broadchurch ones, you guys are absolutely amazing. I love you all, and I really appreciate the support. This may be the last episode that I edit in New Zealand as well, so it's a very emotional thing for me too. Like it may be the last real sort of, how do I describe this? A lot's going to change. So this is maybe the last time I make videos like this, in a sense. Just the whole format's going to change, guys. Everything's going to change. And I just wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone that has stuck around. I really do appreciate it. But with all that sort of soppy stuff aside, we will say goodbye again at the end of the episode. But for anyone that doesn't watch the end, thank you so much. But anyway, the more important stuff now is figuring out who the hell killed Daniel Solano. Because we've got to the end of the episode, and like I said in the last reaction, so much has just been thrown into the air. I don't know what to think. So, I'm not going to go into too much detail about that. I already did at the end of the last reaction. You can hear my thoughts and theories and stuff. Go watch that prior to this one. I just want to get cracking with the final episode of Gracepoint. So, hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's get straight into it. So this is his medical assessment, right? Where they're basically going to be like, sorry, you can't be on the job. And then something's going to come to light about the computer, and then he's going to go off the book, you know?
I need till the end of the day. 8 hours.
What difference will that make?
8 hours
The
left.
case is going to Detective Miller.
Try to check in with CSI, see what they got in the van. Did you find your boy's computer?
Whoa. See, you know what?
He says it was stolen.
Do you believe him?
I know I'm already pausing it, guys, and I know I'm already pausing it, but this is a thing I've noticed about when comparing the two as well. I can't help but feel that their relationship feels worse than it was in Broadchurch. Now. You know where I'm coming from? Like, it feels like more shaky. Like, he doesn't trust her as much, or he doesn't believe in her as much, or she doesn't like him as much. Why? It feels like even more harsh. Like, because I remember in the sort of Broadchurch season 1, you sort of start feeling like their relationship. Maybe I'm misassociating season 1 with season 2 and 3. I don't know. I just noticed that now. Like, it seems so negative, just on this final episode. Like, it's literally the last episode.
I called Joe, asked him to come in.
What? This
See,
morning?
Joe's coming in.
You're calling him in and you didn't tell me.
We are gonna get the scene.
I'm telling you now.
Size 10 shoe. Oh.
You threatened the priest?
Did Paul Coates ever hit Danny?
No.
I don't know.
He's capping. He's capping. It didn't happen.
Did Danny ever tell you that Paul hit him?
No.
Did you ever see anyone hit Danny?
He was just scared. He was protecting himself.
I never saw anyone else hit Danny.
You're the only person he wrote to from that new address. Actually, you and one other person. Why didn't you tell us that you and Danny had been arguing?
You and one other person.
In these emails,
And that's Joe.
Danny's being kind of rough on you. Leave me alone. You're a follower.
You're
Your
a
dad's
follower.
probably disappointed in you, too.
What the?
He's bored by you. You just don't know it.
What?
You really said that?
The
Did it hurt you
heck?
when you read what your friend wrote?
That would then explain, like, he's bored of you more than you know it, because Danny had the whole situation where he was like, he felt that Joe was doing what he was doing to him because Joe wouldn't do it to his son, right? So he's now sort of saying, like, that's what that was. That makes sense. The other email will be, bro, it's going to be Joe. It's going to be Joe. They set this up perfectly. It's just a matter of the van, what that has got to do with all of this, and how.
We'll get a lawyer. Yeah, we're through. Come on.
That's all for now, anyway.
What should I show you? Ready?
Oh, Tom. What shoe size are you?
6.
What about you, Joe?
10.
Oh, what did I say? Bro, it set it up, man. It set it
What's
up.
going on?
I'm a bit sad that
Why
it's
did
not
you call me
deviated
all
a
the way
bit
down
more,
here?
if you ask
I
me.
was here before.
He says he was carrying a small deer.
A deer.
He claims he was out hunting the night of Danny's death.
Oh, so it could be
Says he cut through a farmer's fence out by
could be
Hill
a
Road.
deer. Okay, let me just say, I know I paused it too... Bloody hell. I think this is going to be a pausey one, guys, being as it's the last one, but... if they just explain the whole, like, she saw a person with a body. It looks like a body. There's no disputing that. It's wrapped like it's a body. It doesn't look like it's wrapped like a deer. If they just explain it away like that, I'll be a little bit, like... I've personally, like, here's the thing, right? Okay, I've felt a little bit like too many things come across as coincidental. And, like, it's too unlikely that something like that would happen. Like, for example, Vince looks like Joe and they don't look that alike, you know, or, you know, the whole, maybe he was carrying a wrapped up deer. Like, does that not come across as a bit, like, weird to you? Like, I don't know, man. Maybe that's just me.
Danny's smartphone's back on. We have coordinates and a trace on the signal.
Danny's smartphone. Oh.
Send it through to this number.
And it's gonna, yeah,
Happening now,
it's
sir.
Joe, and they're gonna walk in and they're gonna find him there. Is that really gonna be now? I know it's the last episode, but
You've done good work on this case.
because it's gonna break her. Oh my god! Her acting for me, I can't wait to see the comparisons. Bro, this is so clever how it's showing you every, like, suspect just sitting there. Mark, Priest, and now they're gonna show Joe. You watch. Yeah, see? Tom's there and he walks and says, "Where's your father?" or something. Or maybe that doesn't happen. Because he just walks straight around the back. See? Ooh!
I'll tell you everything.
It's confirmed. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay, we've got 30 plus minutes, so there's a lot of retracing to do. But I will say this. The whole Joe thing, for me, seems semi-confirmed. But it's why he did it. That's the important thing. Now, there's a big fine line between him doing it and him covering it up. And I've spoken about this as well. Like, could there be a difference in the way they describe what happened? Hear me out, right? So I've got two avenues now which I'm thinking. Two. Joe did it. And it's the same thing. He had this weird relationship with Danny and it was like an awkward connection and he was romanticizing this relationship with him. Two. His son did something and he covered it up. And that's why he's been hesitant to, you know, allow his son to do things or go on, you know. So I've got two theories. There's going to be more than one person or it's just going to be Joe. I'm leaning towards the whole it's just going to be Joe again, but we're going to get a very, very slight different motive in how it happened and da-da-da-da-da. I'm going to be a little bit gutted. And I will say that because it's I think this will be, if it has gotten criticism, I haven't looked at reviews for the show, if it has gotten criticism, I'll say that I think most of the criticism will come to the fact that it's been picture copy, carbon copy almost, like very few details have been different. And in that sense, like, is it really unique, you know? I feel like that's the only way. It'll get good reviews because it's got a good story, but it might get some critics going like, it's just Broadchurch.
I missed you.
I miss you too.
So it is
Okay.
the same weird relationship.
No more dad drama?
No.
I
Oh,
really did miss you, you know.
gross, man. So it was leading the same way.
I can't do this.
I can't do this.
Come on. Don't be ridiculous, it's me.
But there's gonna be the whole he runs off and
Not like
cuts
this.
his hand
We
and
need
then
to
he
figure
gets...
out what we're gonna...
He asks him to come back, doesn't he?
The boy was 12 years old.
I know, it was too much for him. I
Messed
get
up.
that now.
Bro, does he not realise that it's, like, wrong
He
just in
ran to the
general?
edge of the cliff and threatened to jump. I told him everything was okay. I was sorry. I said, go home. Just go home. Everything will be fine. I promise.
Go home, everything will
You're
be
not
fine.
normal. You're sick.
That's a bit different as
It's my
well.
problem.
In Broadchurch, he sort of said, like... Oh, that sun's coming through. Where's it coming through from? But in Broadchurch, he sort of said, like, come back in here and, like, we'll talk about it and then you can go. Like, it wasn't like a go home, it'll be fine. It was... He was basically threatening him and saying, you say anything, boom, I will hit... You know? There was a threatening vibe over there. Oh my god. So this is slightly different. He told him to leave.
I have to tell them.
You don't.
Oh, so he threatened to tell the
can't.
parents. I see. So he threatened to say something to the parents and that, so it is the same sense.
It was an accident.
What do you mean it was an accident?
Slammed his head into a rock.
So it is this... See?
Never ever meant to hurt him. I cared about him.
So that is
Care
way more
about
accidental than Broadchurch. That sounds so much... Okay, I'm going to say that sounds better. Because then you can believe the whole accident thing way more than in the whole, like, strangulation. Because it takes ages. So there you go. Displayed the body in the same way as if he committed suicide. And then he sees Mark with Gemma. So it's carbon copy. There's very, very little difference whatsoever.
Does she know?
Bro, imagine he says don't tell her.
No.
Of course he's going to, you know. Here
What are
we
you
go,
doing?
here we go,
He's my
here we go.
suspect.
Sit down, Miller.
What's going on?
This is the scene,
It's not
man.
him. It was Joe. Joe killed Danny Solano.
Here's the scene, man. Bro, this is giving me goosebumps just thinking about it.
He didn't do that. He would never do something like that.
Oh, I've got goosebumps just thinking of Olivia Colman's performance.
It's okay.
It does not get any easier watching that.
It was Joe.
No, not Joe.
Okay, I want to pause it, but I'm not going to, just simply because of the continuity of watching this, but I'll talk about it in a second.
I have to see him.
Yeah, she has to see him, and that's what leads
You
to the
don't
problem.
touch it.
Well, I'll say first and foremost, like, if I watched this first, I would not say her acting was bad whatsoever. I wouldn't even consider saying that. Like, it's a good performance. But the thing is, right, is because I've seen Broadchurch, and if you haven't seen Broadchurch, go watch it. If you have seen Broadchurch, you will know what I'm talking about. Olivia Colman's performance when she finds out is stellar. Maybe I'll put a little clip of my reaction down here somewhere if you want to see it, or I'll show you, like, okay, you know what, I'll do that. I'll film a little, like, I'll re-clip my reaction to that scene and show you the difference. See the comparison between the two. That performance is unbeatable, in my opinion. Like, it was absolutely stellar, which I didn't quite get with this. And once again, guys, I'm going to say this now because it's a thing I've felt constantly throughout this reaction series. Is this feels more rushed. I feel less attached to scenes than I did in Broadchurch. Like, in Broadchurch, I'm watching a scene, I'm like, you know, I'm gutted. This, it feels rushed. Like, I don't know if it's because I've already seen Broadchurch. It probably is a bias. But I feel like we're progressing through scenes way quicker. And it's, like, hard for me to grasp onto, like, my emotions during those scenes. But it's identical. And the motive's not even different. That's the thing, like, I've been talking a lot about whether the motive's different and why it's different and what happens. Like, very little has changed. Well, I will say this, right. The things that have changed, which I feel most happy about, is the mode of killing, because it makes more sense that it was an accident. They're like, way like they sort of formulated the scene where he's like running off and then he sort of chase him rather than luring him back into the cabin. Like, no kid would just go back into the cabin, you know? Like, the whole, they're on the grass, I've got to tell someone, tries to run off, boom, rock. It's way more like accidental and like in the moment stuff rather than two separate, almost distinct feeling scenes, which I prefer, honestly. For me, right, if you were to merge these shows, you could take good parts from both and make it would be phenomenal. Like, I think there are definitely things from pros and cons to both. This show's got things that are slightly better. Broadchurch's got things that are better. You know, it's just great.
I can't explain.
12 years old!
See, this is... Bro, that's giving me
I just need you to know
goosebumps.
I'm a good man.
Okay, let me just say this. I think her performance angry is actually pretty damn good.
How can he say I'm a good man after what he did?
I'm a good man after what he did.
All these years? This is what it was?
Imagine there's like another bombshell. That's another thing. Like, the killing. I'm not going to say what happens in it.
Want it?
They drop a bombshell.
I wish I had some answers.
They have scenes like this where they're like, it's sort of over, and then they just throw another
gonna
bloody
take time.
nuke on you. Like, it's mental. The quick question is as well, why the hell did Vince have a tattoo of Danny? That's another thing. What the... So,
We're
still
happy
unanswered
here.
question. Maybe he's just a weird dude.
Joe Miller has confessed.
Ooh.
Ellie.
She didn't know.
She had no idea. And she blames her from memory.
It was Dad.
No, it wasn't. He wouldn't.
Oh.
I'm so sorry.
Bro, like I said, imagine the kid just comes out like, I know something.
I have no
Obviously he's a kid actor, so he's not going to be that
idea
great
what would make him do
necessarily as
something like
acting
that, but I
like
do know
this,
that
but...
it's not your fault or Dylan.
Doesn't he like wrongly confess
There's
in
also kids' sneaker prints, size 6, all over this area.
Size 6.
what did I
Why did
say
you
about
have
bombshell?
One of Danny's crossword books in your backpack.
Bro, we're getting another retrace. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Bro, what did I say? I know, like, right, okay, let me just say this, right. I know when I do reactions, I theorize a lot of crap, which is why I think being a detective would be a fantastic job for me. I was sitting going, oh my god, what did I say? That's because I've said everything, right? I've just theorized all these different things. Holy shoot. So what now?
We need to get Danny. Danny!
What's going on?
What are you doing? Stop! Leave him dead! He's my
Oh my god, so it was even more of an accident. Oh my
Danny?
god.
Go to bed. Don't do anything. Don't say anything.
Oh my god. You know why I'm annoyed right now? Because no one's gonna know that. They're not gonna let that out. Like to Beth, for example, they're not gonna know that. They're not gonna get... Yo. I'm impressed. Because all this time I've gone thinking, it's not that different. I'm not that impressed. How am I supposed to feel, you know? Oh my god. Final nuclear bomb. What was I talking about? Turns out, all of that stuff is true. It's all true. Did I predict that he may have seen them? I'm going to rewatch and figure out. I made a lot of predictions, so I don't know. I don't know for the life of me. I did predict that maybe it was a cover-up by Joe for his son. And very well... Bro, it was. So he saw everything unfold. Danny starts getting away. He then gets an oar, smacks him over the head, boom, dead, accident, boom, didn't intend to do that. Didn't even intend to hit Danny, actually went for his father. What does that mean? Obviously, it means that Tom's the one that did it. Joe should be going away for a different reason. Now, what would that lead to in future seasons? That's the other crazy thing. Whether that even comes out, because remember this, right? The only one that knows that is Ellie. Would she release the information? She's something very, very careful to Susan. She said, if my kids were in any trouble, I would do everything I could to protect them. I don't even think that she's going to tell Emmett. That changes the complexity of their relationship as well, because he didn't kill Danny. Oh my god. What does that mean? Like, and see, I'm annoyed, man. Why the hell was there not season 2? You know why I'm annoyed? Because a detail like that changes everything. Yeah, you still got the Rosamond case. Yeah, you still got all of that nonsense that's continuing. That's still there. But all of this other stuff about Joe, the relationship with Ellie, whether she hates him or not for what he did, because of the extent of what he did, how she reacts with the son, that then adds more of an element of the son wanting to admit that he did it for the father, protecting the father. All those different details could have made it phenomenal next season.
What are we gonna do?
What are we going to do? Nothing. You watch her protect him.
I would never intentionally hurt him. I really
My
cared for him.
god. Oh.
For your sake, I hope to keep you locked up for a long time.
Bro, that changes so much in my head, it's not even funny. I'm gonna have to talk about this again.
How could you not know?
Yeah, hear that one, bro. Oh my god.
I never touched Danny. But you were going to.
That's the thing, it was leading to that. But that just, like I said, the complexity. The complexity changes completely. She can't hate him for killing him because he didn't kill him.
Every single bit of it stays between us.
Yeah. So I told you to protect her son.
Good night, Emmett.
Good night, Emmett.
Hey,
Well, we know they would have been back.
How did everybody know?
Paul did that.
Is that you?
Yes!
Pass the word.
Come on, Paul.
Did you ever see anyone hit Danny?
I never saw anyone else hit Danny.
The way he looks at his
Why
father.
did you smash your computer, Tom?
So Emmett does partly work it out. Ringing Ellie. And this is just going to end with him being like, oh my god. Is it just going to end? Yeah, and he knows. Look at that face, man. Oh my goodness. Well, there's your cliffhanger. What the... Okay, so, it's done. It's done and dusted. So, before we get into this sort of post-analysis, which is probably going to be a bit longer than usual, I just want to say thank you all so much for tuning in. If you have to this point, you guys are all absolutely amazing. I love you all. And I hope I see you all again soon, whether it be in Broadchurch video, if something else happens, or another reaction series, if something else happens. I hope to see you all guys soon. But for now, we've got a lot to talk about. And for me, I think the biggest disappointment coming out of this series is the fact that there isn't more, because I actually thought this was it was alright, you know. I didn't think it was that bad at all. It got bad reviews, which I imagine is because it's carbon copy nature and potentially slightly tackier acting, I don't know. It definitely didn't rate as high as Broadchurch, but it had the potential to really go on and succeed as a remake. Like, there's big differences, like we see. There's huge differences between Broadchurch and Gracepoint, which you're led to believe there isn't for like 10.5 episodes, but then bombshell, boom, changes everything that I think about the next series and what it could be, which is crazy. Yeah, so ultimately, a bit of a recap, everything before halfway through the episode is practically identical, and there's not a lot I need to talk about other than the fact that it is Joe that we find with the phone and the admitting it and everything. Joe's the one who did that. That, for me, I was sort of thinking, like, when that happened, I was like, I'm a bit disappointed, and I was like, I'm not the happiest because it's repeated itself, and I was a bit gutted, and I sort of sat back and said, you know what, that's going to be my biggest critique. Joke's on me. Now, the bit where it gets interesting, obviously, is when we find out that there's hidden details. There's something missing, something doesn't make any sense. Now, I sort of shrugged it off at one point because one thing I've noticed is the American... I thought it was just an American TV show sort of thing, but they tend to rush the flashbacks. Broadchurch's flashback was like in-depth and long and detailed. You think, okay, well that makes sense. You sort of believe it straight away. This one felt rushed again. Like they sort of had the incident happen. They didn't actually show him hit, which I should have picked up on immediately, which I didn't. And they lead you to believe that he's the one that did it. Now there's one line which I thought to myself, like, I remember thinking, that's a bit different. And there was a line between Ellie and Susan, and I think maybe in the previous episode, or yeah, maybe in the previous episode, when she sort of says, why would you come and tell the police? Like, if it was my kids, I would do everything I could to protect him. That stuck with me, and I thought to myself, imagine they threw another bombshell, and that she would protect, you know, if it was something to do with the son, which I did predict earlier in the season could have been the deviation. The crazy thing is that's what we find out. Joe is protecting his son like I thought. The lies and everything, it changes everything, which I'll go into a second. But ultimately what ends up happening is it ends up being the son. The son's the one who... And it was all an accident. It wasn't even on purpose. He swung around to try and hit thing, and then he ends up hitting Danny. I'm surprised he managed to hit him hard enough to kill him, you know. It's a bit dramatic. I thought he would fall and like hit a rock and then you see blood everywhere. But yeah, so it turns out all along, son did it. After, yes, the pedophilic interest and stuff was still there with Joe, which you still can't forgive him for, and you still sit there and think it's disgusting, what next sort of thing. You still think there's going to be conflict, blah, blah, blah. But it changes the dynamic completely because now he's protecting his son. And, you know, in Broadchurch, you sort of get like the relationship between Ellie and Joe it's nasty. It becomes vile and, you know, there's a good reason. He murdered someone. Now it's like halved, like something's changed. Like, yeah, there was the interest there, and yeah, maybe the cause or effect, the reason that started this. But at the same time, he didn't kill him. You know, what does that mean? Now, Ellie's relying on him to keep his mouth shut, to protect the children. My question is what would that have led to in season 2? It changes everything, you know. Obviously, you still got Rosamond, and you still got that whole case and what happens there. That would have still, you know, been pervasive and continued. But what happens with the dynamic change? Does Joe still go to court and plead not guilty? Does he blame his son? Does he care about his son enough to do that? Does he just keep it secret? Now that Emmett knows, which is another big thing, I was thinking, like, does Emmett not know? Emmett knows. It's a big cliffhanger at the end. He knows, or he's predicted it. What does Emmett do? Does he go against Ellie? Does he go with Ellie? It's endless. It's completely and utterly endless as to what could have happened. And you know what? Maybe I will do let me just write this down so I don't forget. A what if Gracepoint. Sort of what I could have, would have, should have, would have done, you know? Because like I said, there's endless possibilities, and it would have... The thing is, right, is this series, I critiqued it a lot for being too similar to Broadchurch. There's no way that they could have made season 2 exactly the same way, other than Rosamond and that situation. I don't even know if that would have been the same. We got barely any details about it. They could have changed that completely. There's no way they keep the whole story the same with all of those sort of changes in what happened. There's no way. So yeah, that's for me is the biggest positive. So the biggest negative, which I thought was originally a negative, led to the biggest positive. And that's that all this time they lead you to believe one thing, and then they throw that at you. Bombshell. Changes everything. I love it. I love it. It's got my mind running circles. I was thinking, like, I could just watch Broadchurch season 2 and 3. It would have pretty much been exactly the same. Nope. Now that that's out of the way, the whole what if, I'll probably make a video on that. Talking about the series in general, ultimately, I prefer Broadchurch. Pretty much everything to do with Broadchurch, bar a few details. Like I said, I preferred the way he died in Gracepoint because it comes across more as an accident. It makes more sense to the story. Broadchurch came across as more personal and professional almost. Like, it's like, you don't just strangle someone to death, how long that takes, out of an instantaneous reaction if you care about this person, you know. It just doesn't happen. I preferred that sort of storyline. Now that I think about it, I prefer the notion of him covering up. Simply because, like, it adds a whole new complexity. Like, it makes everything more complex. You wouldn't even believe that after Broadchurch, but everything is way more complex and exciting. And there's lots of things to just think about now. So, for me, I prefer the way this one ended. Whether I prefer what that led to, I don't know, because it hasn't been made, but I prefer ultimately the ending. But everything leading up to it, for me, Broadchurch just came across as better. For me, Broadchurch wins it over, but there's definitely things I prefer about Gracepoint. But yeah, so ultimately, my view on this, my verdict, because I'm going to try and keep this, I'm going to try and make this like not a ridiculously long outro. My verdict is this. If you haven't seen Broadchurch, go and watch it, because it's different. If you haven't seen Gracepoint, I know you obviously have if you're watching this, but what I would tell people is if you're looking at the two shows, I'm going to say watch both of them. I'm not going to say watch one because they're the same, because they're not. The way that they change how you think and interpret and believe what could happen completely changes everything. So watch both. I still personally believe, like here, the best way to watch it is Broadchurch then Gracepoint, because the way I think they've designed it to mislead you like this, there's a Broadchurch and they've designed it so that they think you've seen Broadchurch, so that's like a bias which misleads you in Gracepoint. I think it's phenomenal. So Broadchurch, Gracepoint, both should be watched. Both great, man. I've enjoyed both of them. But yeah, ultimately I can understand why it was cancelled, because the reviews weren't that great, and not just that, but I'm pretty sure this was only meant to be a limited series. I don't think it was meant to be onwards. I think it was supposed to leave interpretation open. I think it was supposed to leave you in this mindset of, oh my god, what's just happened? I'm a bit gutted that it has been cancelled, but I can understand why it isn't as higher quality as Broadchurch, unfortunately, but it's still good, in my opinion. And I hope you guys enjoyed it nonetheless. I hope you guys enjoyed the reaction series, despite that it wasn't really a first-time reaction. Really, some of last episode was, so I hope you enjoyed the last episode specifically. And just generally, if you did tag along, thank you so much, guys. If you did enjoy this series, as ever, don't forget to smash that button and subscribe to the channel for new content every single week. And as ever, don't forget to follow the Instagram, guys. Broadchurch 2 piece in the description below. And being as the last time I may see you for a little while, don't forget to smash in the comments your thoughts on the reaction series of the episode, the differences between the two. And now that we know exactly what's happened, free reign in the comment discussion section. But yeah, anyway, guys, that's all from me. As ever, this has been your boy, British Chap. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.